On the night of October 15, 2025, the usually quiet Russia-North Korea border was suddenly thrown into utter chaos. What had been a tense but silent frontier became the center of global attention in a matter of seconds. A blinding flash tore through the darkness, instantly shattering the calm. The explosion that followed was so powerful, its thunderous roar echoed for miles in every direction, reverberating across the borderlands and deep into the night. In the small Russian border town of Kasan, residents were jolted awake in terror. Windows rattled violently, alarms blared, and the ground itself seemed to tremble beneath their feet. For many, it felt like the world was ending. Then, as panic spread, a series of secondary blasts erupted. Each explosion sent new fireballs into the sky, painting the clouds in vivid shades of orange and red, turning night into a surreal, flickering day. The inferno raged on for more than an hour, devouring everything in its path. Railway tracks, forest, and cargo alike. The flames leapt higher and higher, fueled by whatever was burning on those trains. First responders rushed to the scene, but the heat and intensity of the fire forced them to keep their distance. All they could do was watch helplessly as the relentless blaze consumed the night. What was supposed to be a covert operation, hidden from the world's eyes, instead became a spectacle of destruction so massive it was visible from space. The fireball could be seen from high above, a beacon of disaster on the border. Russian state media tried to maintain silence, refusing to acknowledge the catastrophe. But the sheer scale of the disaster was impossible to hide, even for the most controlled newsrooms. Within minutes, amateur videos began to flood social media. Shaky cell phone footage captured the chaos, explosions, fire, and the panic of those living nearby. The world watched in real time as the border burned. By morning, the world awoke to headlines about a disaster far more significant than a simple train accident. Newsrooms everywhere scrambled to understand what had happened and what it meant. It soon became clear a vital military supply chain had been obliterated in the fire. The destruction was total: train cars, cargo, and all. At the heart of the blast was the railway bridge over the Tumen River, Russia's only direct land link to North Korea. This bridge was more than just infrastructure, it was a strategic lifeline. For months, intelligence agencies from around the world had been tracking suspicious, secretive freight traffic along this very route. The trains carried more than just goods. They carried secrets. In a single, catastrophic night, all that secrecy was obliterated. The world could now see what had been hidden for so long: burning wreckage where secret shipments once passed. The flames devoured a shipment of military supplies, crates of ammunition, equipment, and weapons meant to fuel a distant war. This was no random tragedy. It was the violent, deliberate end of a supply line destined for the battlefields of Ukraine, a blow that would echo far beyond the border. By dawn, all that remained were smoldering ashes and blackened ruins. The tools of conflict had been reduced to dust before they could ever reach the front lines, changing the course of a war before the sun even rose. By dawn, the devastation was unmistakable. What had once been a heavily guarded supply line was now a smoldering graveyard of twisted metal and shattered hopes. A massive ammunition convoy, the backbone of a critical military operation, had been utterly annihilated overnight. Intelligence sources quickly estimated the value of the destroyed shipment at a staggering $700 million. A vast arsenal painstakingly assembled by North Korea for Russia's war effort. The ill-fated train carried hundreds of thousands of artillery shells, thousands of Katyusha-style rockets, and even short-range ballistic missiles, enough firepower to alter the course of battles. This was the lifeblood of Russia's grinding war in Ukraine, a shipment meant to replenish dwindling stockpiles and sustain the offensive, now lost in a single, catastrophic night. The destruction laid bare the depth and urgency of the Moscow-Pyongyang arms partnership, revealing just how far both nations were willing to go to support each other. Western intelligence agencies had long warned of North Korean munitions flowing steadily to Russia, traded for food, fuel, and advanced technology, an illicit pipeline now exposed to the world. The loss is both financial and strategic, a blow that can't be easily replaced, and a setback that will echo through both countries' military planning for months to come. The convoy's journey was supposed to end quietly, its deadly cargo seamlessly integrated into Russia's war machine, fueling the next phase of conflict. Instead, it was violently cut short just inside Russian territory, the explosion lighting up the night and sending shockwaves through military command centers. The operational impact on Russia is severe, leaving units scrambling for supplies. For North Korea, the financial and diplomatic loss is immense, undermining months of covert negotiations. In a single, spectacular blast, a key supply route and a major arms deal were destroyed, altering the balance of power and leaving both nations to count the true cost of what was lost. This was no routine resupply. It was a crucial operation designed to fuel Russia's ambitious winter offensives in Ukraine. The stakes were high, and the success of this mission was pivotal for Moscow's strategic plans. Russian military doctrine heavily relies on overwhelming artillery barrages to gain the upper hand. However, without a steady stream of shell deliveries, this strategy is at risk of collapsing, leaving their forces vulnerable. The destruction of this convoy was a significant blow, as it was the backbone of Russia's next major operation, intended to shift the balance in their favor. Its loss came at a critical time, when commanders were already rationing shells, anxiously awaiting this vital shipment to sustain their operations. The timing couldn't have been worse for Moscow. Winter's frozen ground is ideal for large-scale offensives, but now those plans are in jeopardy. With the convoy destroyed, the guns will remain silent longer than anticipated, disrupting Moscow's strategic timeline. The reliance on North Korean munitions highlights a deep vulnerability in Russia's war machine, exposing the cracks in their supply chain. Sanctions and production shortfalls have forced Moscow to seek assistance from pariah states, revealing the extent of their logistical challenges. For frontline soldiers, the impact is immediate and severe. Less artillery support means higher casualties and stalled advances, affecting morale and momentum. The destruction of the $700 million convoy is a tangible and costly loss that will undoubtedly shape the outcome of upcoming battles. The shockwave from the border blast will reverberate all the way to the trenches of Donbass, altering the dynamics on the ground. Russia's dependence on outside help is now undeniable, as they navigate the complexities of international alliances and dependencies. The war's outcome may hinge not just on battlefield tactics, but on the resilience of shattered supply lines, which are proving to be a critical factor in this conflict. Satellite images the next morning revealed total devastation, twisted tracks, scorched earth, and charred freight cars. The entire convoy and its cargo were obliterated. Within days, Ukrainian intelligence reported a sharp drop in Russian artillery fire, up to 30% in key sectors. Planned Russian bombardments never materialized, giving Ukraine a crucial window to fortify and counterattack. The explosion's impact was immediate, felt thousands of miles away on the battlefield. Russian authorities cordoned off the area, but local reports suggest significant loss of life among the train crew and guards. Cleanup will be hazardous and slow, with unexploded ordnance and toxic chemicals everywhere. The main rail link to North Korea is now unusable, severing the most direct arms supply route. Alternative sea routes are slower, riskier, and easier to monitor. The blast didn't just destroy one shipment, it crippled the entire supply corridor. Russia must now scramble for alternatives as its frontline troops feel the shortage. The logistical nightmare has only just begun. What caused the explosion? 3 theories dominate. First, sabotage by Ukrainian special forces or allied intelligence, a bold, complex operation deep in Russian territory. Second, accidental detonation, triggered by North Korea's notoriously unstable munitions, and poor handling. Third, a targeted strike by drone or missile, requiring real-time intelligence and precision. Each scenario exposes Russia's vulnerability, whether to enemy action, unreliable partners, or advanced surveillance. Officially, Russia calls it a fire incident. Ukraine hints but doesn't claim responsibility. The US and allies focus on the evidence, not speculation. The true cause remains shrouded in the fog of war. But the outcome is clear, a strategic disaster for both Russia and North Korea. The message is unmistakable. No supply line is truly safe. North Korea's response was silence. State media ignored the disaster, pretending it never happened. When forced to respond, Pyongyang issued a defiant denial, calling reports a smear campaign and denying any arms transfers. But satellite images and intercepted communications told a different story. The train originated from a North Korean munitions facility and was destroyed just inside Russia. The evidence is irrefutable, but Pyongyang's denials are a political necessity. The incident embarrasses the regime, exposing its product's poor quality and its vulnerability. The loss of $700 million and a key supply route is a major blow to North Korea's strategy. Internationally, no one is convinced by the denials. The arms for currency trade is now public, and its spectacular failure impossible to hide. North Korea's ambitions have suffered a humiliating setback. The explosion has shaken the Russia-North Korea partnership to its core. For Russia, it's a public humiliation, proof of desperation and dependence on a pariah state. The image of a superpower relying on unstable North Korean shells undermines Moscow's global standing. For North Korea, the loss of $700 million is devastating, and its reputation as an arms dealer is tarnished. The disaster strains the alliance, with both sides likely blaming each other for the failure. Future deals will be riskier, more expensive, and under intense scrutiny. The incident has re-energized international efforts to enforce sanctions and crack down on illicit arms transfers. Financial institutions and shipping companies are now on high alert. The secretive alliance is exposed, making future cooperation far more difficult. The blast has cast a harsh spotlight on an alliance built on desperation and secrecy. The world reacted swiftly. Ukraine celebrated the destruction as proof of Russia's vulnerability and a morale boost for its own forces. South Korea and Japan condemned the arms transfers, warning of threats to regional and global security. Both nations increased surveillance of North Korean shipments. The US called the incident a vivid illustration of the costs of Russia's war, using it to pressure China and others to act. Washington pledged tighter sanctions and closer cooperation with allies. China, caught in a diplomatic bind, urged restraint but avoided direct comment. The explosion complicates Beijing's balancing act between its partners and international law. The incident has galvanized global efforts to monitor and disrupt illicit arms flows. The message supporting Russia's war comes with real, visible risks. The border explosion is more than a dramatic event. It's a lesson in modern warfare. Wars are now won or lost in logistics, intelligence, and supply chains, not just on the battlefield. Even deep overland routes are vulnerable to surveillance and attack. Russia's dependence on a fragile, clandestine supply line has been exposed. The destruction of a single convoy had a measurable impact on its war effort. Targeting logistics is now a proven, effective strategy. Intelligence was the key, knowing what, where, and when to strike. The battle for information is as crucial as the fight on the ground. Russia's shortcut through North Korea became a trap, revealing the risks of desperate alliances. In the 21st century, resilience and stable partnerships matter more than secret trains full of shells.